This conference will now be recorded.
Um, hey everyone, this is Prakhar here. First of all, thanks for joining such late in the night. And I can see a couple of people. Yeah, there are total 17 people. So that's pretty good that you all have joined before the time. That's also quite good. Cool. We will start in next 2 minutes. So let's wait for another 2 minutes. And I think let me just give you because you have already joined earlier. Let me give you some bonus things. So basically, some how we will be doing our session today. So idea for today's session is to understand causal impact. And I'm sure you guys have heard a lot of about machine learning, correlation, regression, predictions, okay? But today our aim is basically to move beyond all these things. And that's where the causal impact becomes very, very important. I'm not sure, there are a lot of research is still happening in causal impacts. There is nothing right and wrong here. But one thing I really want all of you to understand is basic concepts, and that's what we're going to discuss in today's call. Okay, so how we'll proceed is basically we'll start with the video. I'm also going to share this link with you all, okay, over chat. uh, Although because of the time limitation, we won't be able to cover the complete video, but I will be start with a basic intro about this video so that you guys can get a kind of gist about everything. And then I'm gonna start with the presentation, and then I will be talking about a couple of examples to make you guys understand that what is the causal impact, why it is so important. Okay, so this is the plan that we have for today. Cool, so it seems like we are on time, so let's start with this mm, small video. What I'm going to do is by end of today's session, I'm going to share all these links with you. Really recommend you guys to actually go back and watch these videos again. It's really going to help you in understanding a lot of these new concepts, which right now are quite popular. A lot of researches are happening around these, and every business actually needs this kind of thing, not just a basic prediction thing. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to move from prediction to cause and impact. So let's start with our today's session. So I'm gonna play it for first 10 minutes and then I will be talking in between, okay? And if you have any questions, anything, I think you have messengers. We will be chatting around that. Cool. So if you have any questions, anything like that, do ping me here. I'm gonna reply and or I will take some questions I'm gonna answer. So let's start. Can I have some yes, no, please? I hope you all are okay.
Start.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you. So this is one of the video. Basically, let me just give you a background on why I wanted to start with this. As you can see, so this is a whole causal impact package that's being developed in two languages so far, R and Python, and it got developed in year 2016 by Google. It's the name of the package in R is actually the causal impact, and it's pretty well known. Yeah, we will be talking about causality and everything a lot. So don't worry about these terms. Just wait for 10 minutes. Just watch this video, okay? And I'm sure you will be able to understand this causal impact. If no, then I will explain it again. But just to give you a background about this, so basically the Google guys, they have created this whole causal impact package, okay? And obviously they want to, and to understand that, they had this whole presentation in very big forum in 2016. So it's just a recording for that. It's there, it's available on the YouTube. I'm also going to share this link with you after this call. So just try and watch, okay, and let me know if you have any questions in between. So are you guys able to hear the voice? Is it good? Cool. Okay, I think I have put the speed to 2x. Let me just make it to 1.5. Okay, otherwise, and don't worry, I'm going to share this video. Yeah. Is it good now? Cool. Let's start.
many of you remember the 1985 movie trilogy Back to the Future? Anyone? Almost everyone. Okay, fantastic. Well, for those of you who were born after 1985, Back to the Future is about time travel. And if you're excited by time travel, you will love the field of causal inference. Causal inference is the branch of statistics that's concerned with effects, with the consequences of our actions.
Okay, sorry. Are you guys not able to hear this? No. Okay. Just a minute. Okay, just a minute. Okay, let me share it again. Just a minute. Because this is very, very important. I want you guys to understand this. Okay, let me just do it like this.
One causal law in your data can be more powerful than dozens and dozens of correlational patterns that you might find. It's why causal inference has been at the heart of statistics for a long time. And it's why no big data approach and no modern approach to data science can be successful without an understanding of causal effects. So in this session, I want to make sure that each and every single one of you
Okay, I think 1.25 should be good. Now let's start.
Walks out with at least a basic intuition of what it means to estimate a causal effect and what our main tools are. Now, the main gold standard method for estimating causal effects is a randomized experiment. It's pretty obvious to us nowadays. It's only been formalized about 100 years ago. But in lots of situations, we can't run a randomized experiment because it's too expensive or too difficult or unethical, or because it simply wasn't done. And in all those situations, we want to have a handle on getting an estimate of causal effects, even in the absence of an experiment. My name is Kai Brodersen, and in this session, I'd like to focus on a particular tool that we've been developing and using at Google called Causal Impact. Now, let's start with a simple example. Some of you might remember what happened on the 15th of January last year. On that day in the morning at around 9 a.m., the Swiss National Bank decided to release the peg between the Swiss franc and the euro. And what had been an incredibly stable exchange rate for years, all of a sudden within minutes became subject to the free forces of the foreign exchange markets. Now, from a causal inference point of view, the question that we want to answer is, what was the effect of publishing that press release? And the answer is pretty simple, because we would probably all agree that this is what would have happened to the exchange rate had that press release not been published. In the language of causal inference, we have our observed data y1, and all we need to do to understand causal effects is to estimate the counterfactual y0, what would have happened in the absence of the action whose effects we're interested in. Abadi and colleagues have introduced the term synthetic control, popularized that term, since we don't really have an experiment, there isn't really a control in the experiment sense, and yet we want to be able to estimate something that looks just like a control. That's important because the difference between the counterfactual and the actual observed data is our causal effect estimate. And as a sort of rule of thumb, whenever you draw a causal effect in a time series chart, you want to draw it as a vertical arrow. Whenever you see horizontal or diagonal arrows, they're almost always wrong. Now, in real life, things don't always look as clean as they are here. So your time series of clicks or conversions or sales or downloads might look more something like this. Something that has erratic patterns, trends, day of week patterns, month of year, seasonal variations. And yet the same thing holds. We want to be able to estimate what would have happened to our clicks or downloads or sales in the absence of the action that we're interested in. So again, we want to be able to compute that blue counterfactual that you see here so that we can look at the difference between what actually happened and what we think would have happened.
Yeah, guys.
It's called Causal Impact. And it's something we've been developing and using for a while at Google. And what I'd like to convince you of is that you can run these kind of analyses that you saw on the previous slide in just 3 lines. So what a way towards that. Before getting to that, let's take a step back and sort of remind ourselves of what a causal effect really is. So the problem of causal inference begins with a treatment. This could be a product release, or the beginning of an advertising campaign, or a change in your terms and conditions. Anything that interacts or interferes with the market that you care about. Now, there's two things you can do. You can either administer the treatment, take the action, make that change, or release that product, in which case we get to observe the potential outcome under the treatment. Or you could decide not to take the action, in which case we get to observe the potential outcome under no treatment. Now,
Sure, guys. So let me tell you what happens normally. So let's say if we know tomorrow it's gonna be rain, okay, or maybe because I'm sitting in Gurgaon and it's raining today, okay. So if I ask you that how much business loss would have happened because of this rain, how will you calculate it? Okay, obviously you all know data science quite a lot. You all know a lot of regression, logistic regression, okay, all these classification algorithms a lot. You can find some correlations, okay, you can identify, you can go into the past, you can identify some correlations that whenever there's a rain, how much business losses happen, all these kind of things you can always find. But again, main question and the main contention here is basically that had there been no rain today versus when there's rain, so how will you calculate that loss that has happened? Okay, so there are two things here, and like, so I think till now there are a lot of terms this guy has actually thrown. Can you guys ping me like what all terms have you heard so far? Have you heard any terms? Can you tell me what all terms have you heard so far? One is randomized experiment. Do you understand what randomized experiment is? No? Cool. We will be talking about that. Did you hear anything like synthetic control? Yeah, you are close, Archana, very close. Okay. Did you guys hear synthetic control? Do you know what the synthetic control is? Cool. So it means that had there been no rain, because now the it already rained, okay, in Gurgaon, in whole NCR, I think. It already rained. Had there been no rain, this is something which doesn't exist, okay. Some of you, I'm not sure how many of you actually has do watch Flash on Hotstar. Have you, any one of you have seen Flash? It's a quite amazing series on Hotstar. No, okay, Sean has seen Flash. Cool. Couple of you guys have seen Flash. So I think one good thing about Flash is that multiple Earths. Okay, so there's a Flash on Earth 1, then there's a Flash on Earth 2 also. Okay, and both of these people exist at the same time. Yeah, the alternate reality. Perfect. So just think of this synthetic control exactly like that. So just think of this another Earth where everything remains same, okay? But it was not raining in that Earth at that same time. While in our Earth, it's raining, okay? So the only one variable that is different, it's about the rain, okay? It's raining in our Earth versus it's not raining in the other Earth. That is the only difference, and that's what basically this whole concept of causal inferences. Had there been an event versus had there been not an event, what happens is most of the time you always have results from the event, because if something has happened, you can't do go back into the time travel and unchange it, okay. But what you can do is basically you can again look back some past data, try and look at some trend, okay, then predict that whole trend and then try and identify the delta. So this is what this guy is trying to explain. When it's talking about treatment, the only thing is it's talking it in terms of any you can say medical language, okay. So had you taken this tablet versus if you are having a headache, and if you take this tablet you will feel good, versus if you don't take a tablet you will anyway feel good in some time, okay. That's outcome. The feeling good is the outcome here. So if you, let's say, take random people, 100 random people, and to 50 you give this tablet, and to another 50 you don't give them tablet, or maybe you give them tablet but you give them a placebo kind of thing, and then you try and see, compare the result, that how many of those have actually started feeling good after giving the tablet, okay. So this is a whole experiment that you're doing. So Kripa Sindhu is saying, I'm talking about RCT. Sorry, I don't know what you mean by RCT. Is it root cause treatment? Is that what you referring? I don't know what RCT is, but I don't think it's anyway random control trials. Okay, yeah, it's quite close to that. It's quite close to that random control trials, but there's a way. Let's say if you have a website and you have just created this new landing page, then how will you estimate that this landing page gonna do better business for you? Okay, a lot many times if you have heard the AB concept, okay, AB testing. How does it work? It again works on the basis of your causal inference. So what you do is you try and do create 2 3 different variants, okay, but what you'll make sure is basically every you want to make sure that every other variables in the equation remains same. Okay, so let's say if you're getting 100k random visitors, you already have that those visitors. So what you're going to do is the first 50k you're going to route them to your landing page A, and then another 50k 50k, yeah, you're going to route them to your landing page B. Okay, and then you will try and check that now what is the click ratio, what is the your sales ratio, okay, sales rate. So all these parameters that you have for the from the business side, you try and check all these different things. Okay, so this is where this whole causal impact becomes very important. Yes, you actually need to have historical data, because in practical the problem is there's no earth 2, okay, where the same thing is happening. There's no alternate reality. So ideally it's all about prediction, and that's where this is still a very hot topic in research, hot topic of research across world, because you can use any kind of method to do that prediction, okay. You can use a linear regression for the prediction, you can use time series prediction for that prediction. Okay, there are multiple ways you can do it, and that's where this whole thing is still kind of hot. A lot of people, a lot of researchers are going on, and that's where basically the Google's has stepped in. And in 2016 they've kind of created a package, and I'm going to be talking about that package also, so that you guys get to know what that is about. But okay, I think this is a background. Let's wait for another 5 minutes. Let's watch this video. Okay, what else it has for us to say, and then I'm gonna switch to presentation, and I will be walking you through some more concrete examples. Cool. But I hope now you understand what a randomized experiment means. It's basically taking things at random. We've also going to discuss Simpson's paradox. I'm not sure how many of you have seen, but there's a quite nice saying that the devil's level lie in the details. Okay, and today we will try and understand why people say so. Okay, we'll take an example and we'll try and just dig it deep to understand why the devils lie in the detail. Okay, after that, we're going to talk about a couple of these tests, the causality, how it happens, and I'm just going to give you a quick background about how you can use this causal inference in R. Okay, cool.
Now, the causal effect of the action is the difference between two potential outcomes. And as you can already intuit from the slide, we can't take both actions at the same time. We can't release the product and not release the product. We can't change our terms and not change them at the same time, which means we can't ever observe both potential outcomes at the same time. And that means that we can't ever observe a causal effect. We can never ever observe a causal effect because we can't observe both potential outcomes at the same time. So the only options really are to either run an experiment where we observe some of the potential outcomes under the treatment and some under no treatment, or to use what statisticians refer to as observational methods, observational analysis methods, to try and understand and estimate causal effects in the absence of an experiment. That's going to be the focus today. There's one exception, perhaps, and that returns to the Back to the Future movie that we started with. If we could travel back and forth in time, all of this wouldn't be a problem. We could go into the future. In the movie, by the way, in case you're wondering whether any of this came true, just look at your photographs from last year. That's the year that was the future in Back to the Future. So we could go into the future, purchase something like a sports animal.
Okay, sure. So I just saw, I think some of you are finding speed quite fast, but let me just try and explain it to you again. So basically the whole concept of causal inference is basically you are having these two different earths, okay, and only one thing is different. So it's raining here today versus it's not raining there, and everything else gonna remain same. Every other variable, you, the way you behave, okay, the way you talk, the way you do things, every other thing, your friends and all those things gonna remain same. Okay, and that means if you're gonna take the difference of your do activity after that, that's gonna tell you the impact of having rain. So Ishan is saying, what could happen if one variable change? Yeah, that's the only thing. The only we It has to be only one variable. Okay, then only you can say it's a cause and effect, because causal inference is all about cause and effect. What you want to say, it's if you really want to be 100% confident that, let's say, the losses has happened because of the rain. Hmm? So what you need to do is you need to set up a proper experiment. Okay, you need to just think of every other kind of variable that might be possible. But obviously we know that it's not just because of the rain. It might be that we all know that the coronavirus, that's quite well spread up. Okay, everywhere. Our whole it's taking a toll on every stock indices in the world. Okay, our BSE is down, our NSA is down, even the Japan Nifty and everything. Every index is down across the world. It's just because I think of the city where it's kind of originating. So that might be another reason because of which there will be losses. Okay, so the whole thing is that if you change only one variable, obviously that's something which we all want. But is it practical? The answer is no, because at times obviously you can't control all these different variables, and in practical, uh, when we try so why we need causal impact, basically to understand the impact of anything, which means it's all about the measurement. Okay, so at any business, I think, just think of anything, be it in marketing, be it in banking, be it in telecom. You always want to understand that if you have put $100, okay, for anything, any campaign, how much are you getting? Okay, you always interested in that, because once you know, then only you can optimize your campaign, okay, for better. So that's always a big question across every and each industry, I would say. And to answer that, I would say the causal impact, causal inference is at least one way to go. Obviously, there are again lots of ifs and buts that we need to answer. But if we just take ourselves to normal regression, that's also wrong. Okay, it doesn't tell you what regression or these things does. It just maps your input to output. Okay, it doesn't tell you from the business side that if you change input by X, how much your output will change. Okay, obviously you can try and do it with some equation, something like that, but unless you try and use causal inference, your answer will be less correct. So let me also give you one more thing. So normally there are three levels to any kind of measurement, and it's quite popular. You once you go jump into your corporate area or corporate working, you will hear. So normally there's a gold, silver, bronze. Okay, I would say that's how you kind of do the measurement. So when we talking about Earth 1 and Earth 2, okay, and changing only one variable, that means we are talking about the gold standard of measurement. Okay, obviously at times we have to try and do create create such experiments, but we all know that at the top nothing can be 100% true. But still, it's still okay. At least we try and put our best effort to reach to that level. But still, yeah, that's where we'll say it's a gold standard. When we do our regression, when we do our correlation, all these kind of stuff, which because regression also kind of tell us a bit of cause and effect, but not exactly, because it always depend on the number of variables that you're putting. Okay, if you don't put variable for coronavirus, okay, then obviously it won't come into your equation and you won't be able to know. You might deduce wrong reasonings. That's where the regression at times might be a problem. Okay, so in that particular case, what you do is basically it's a silver standard. Okay, and I would say more than 95% of the people actually rely on the silver standard. They don't want to go to gold. Okay, and that's I would say opportunity and challenges. If you any one of you is interested in doing web analytics, okay, so in web analytics the A/B testing is super duper popular. Why? Because there's reasoning. In web analytics, what happens is basically whenever you try and change something, you try and make everything else remain same, only that change is different, and then you try and measure every other business metric, like clicks, okay, the click-through rate, okay, and all these different things you try and measure. For another example, at times what happens is there are companies like Tesco which try and give free coupons to their customers. Okay, but how do they understand the impact of, like, whether these free coupons are working or not? So obviously what they do is they try and create a control. So what they do is, let's say if there's total 100 people, so out of the 100 people, they take 10 people as control and they put 90 people as exposed. Okay, so what is control? People who are not supposed to get coupon, and the 90 people, they are expected to get the coupon. So what they do is then they try and track that behavior. They see that the people who haven't got the behavior, how much sales they have done. Yeah, Archana. So I think you're pretty close to the definition when you're saying that effect considers the impact of one variable at a time. Yeah, so that's the only way you can do understand the impact of a variable, correct? Because let's say if you put two variables in for causal impact, you will not be able to get to know that this outcome has happened because of which variable. Okay, so that's you are sure the causal impact in the real scenario and in the gold standard, you always want only one variable to be changed for your causal impact. But when we're talking regression, definitely in regression, you can put as much as variable, and whatever variable you're gonna put, it's gonna tell you how it's gonna impact the output. Okay, so you are correct. I think nice way of summarizing it. Thanks for that. Cool. So I think we have already covered some 24 minutes. So I'm gonna just play this video for another 6 minutes, and then I have a very nice presentation. I'm gonna switch in that. Okay, Ishan is another question. In market research, also we do the same. Okay, keeping a benchmark panel where nothing has changed versus placing product and other similar panel which change product. Thanks, Ishan. Thanks for sharing this insight. So I think what Ishan is saying, yeah, that's definitely the case. So whenever we try and do these researches, okay, any kind of product research, website research, I would say any kind of research, I have seen like 99% of the cases you actually use the control and exposed methodology, which is very popular. Okay, so what happens is basically when there is no event, the control and exposed is same. But when there's an event, you only exposed basically it to your exposed user, okay, and they will be treated. And after that, you try and see. So basically, your control user is your Earth 2, okay, where there is no rain, who haven't got any offer. And sometimes we are unlucky, okay, and it might happen to us also, I'm sure. Like although it's a bit risky in all these days, but a lot many times we all get these SMSs on our mobile that if we spend this much on our credit card, okay, this much we're gonna gain. So what these banking companies or credit card companies do is they also create a control and expose, because they are running a campaign, okay. Any in every campaign that people run, they always want to measure the effectiveness of it. And one good way of measuring its effectiveness is always to have a control and expose mechanism. So in that, basically, unfortunately, there will be 10 people, let's say 10% if they choose as a control, who will not get any coupon, while 90% gonna get the coupon. And then once they see their sales, they just see that if there is no campaign, then how would have that sale anyway, versus when there's a coupon, then how the sales has increased. Okay, so this is what the whole causal impact talks about, and the whole industry actually kind of do it like this. But now just wait for another 3-4 minutes. Let's just hear more things about this video, and I'm going to share this complete link also at the end of this session. Please do watch this video again at your side. I will recommend you guys, and yeah, let's try and see what all we have.
The sports betting results of the past 50 years, go back into the past and observe both potential outcomes. The first one is the original, where Biff Tannen is not particularly successful, sort of getting by, versus the alternative potential outcome, where Biff Tannen is a ultra-rich real estate tycoon sitting here in his Tannen Tower. Again, the causal effect of taking that almanac back into the past.
Okay, I think still there's some sound issue, but I think it's kind of the same story. So let's not waste more time on this video, and let me switch to presentation. But I think Abhishek has a very good question. Nice. So he is asking that isn't it biased to divide people in 9:1 for research? So I was just taking an example that if there's 100 people, we can just have 90 in exposed and trend control. So the two things that generally goes, obviously, you need to have statistical significant control, okay, whenever you do these experiments. So what happens? What is the statistical significant control? So if you do any research, what it says is basically if you generally, I would say as a thumb rule, you need minimum 400 people. You need okay. So if you have minimum 400 people as your control, and let's say 400 people as your exposed, it can be 50-50 ratio, and that experiment will do very good job. But let's say if you have if you're running a campaign where you actually want to give coupons, okay, and increase your sales, the problem there is obviously you can't have 50-50 ratio, okay. 50% of your customers you don't give them coupon. It's going to reduce their loyalty also if they kind of identify that. Okay, so it's a big business risk also. So the first thing is always business reasonings. They takes a precedence, and then obviously the measurement of any campaign that we do. And obviously we don't want to we just want to understand the impact. So what we do is most of the time we try and take that minimum possible control that makes statistical significance. As long as we have that thing in the equation, we can just run it. Okay, whether it can be 9 is to 1, it can be 8 is to 2, it can be anything, it doesn't matter. Okay, it really depends on what numbers we have. Let's say if you have numbers in lakhs, then obviously that number can be small. You can have 9 is to 1 because even in lakhs the 10% is a good amount. Okay, if you have million, the 10% is anyway very good number, so which you can say it is a good representative of the whole population. If that's the thing, if that's the randomization you're talking about, then you can always decide based on these ratios that you have. But let's say if that 10% doesn't represent the whole population, then definitely you need to increase the control. So that's always a, I would say, trade-off that we need to do. And again, you always need to find with the business that how you gonna get the best numbers out. Okay, so that's always be a problem. Cool. So I think let me that's good thing you guys are aware of it, and some of you have done something around it. So let me just jump to the presentation. This presentation is actually a paper which was again kind of published in a conference in 2016. It talks about a couple of pitfalls and methods and the best practices, but the main thing is basically we all want to move from prediction to causation. So if we just try and discuss what is a causal inference and why should we care about, okay, I think we all are experts in machine learning algorithms. We all know the correlations, okay, but we all know that the correlations at times are very dangerous, okay, and that's where we can't just rely on them, and that's where we generally try and do regression. But again, the regression doesn't give the answer, it only maps your input to output, okay, nothing more than that. Okay, so that where else the causal effect is going to help us? It's basically help us in formulating and estimating the effect of any event that's going to happen. It can be anything, okay. Maybe if you see some ad on TV on some day versus on other day there's no ad, so for that particular brand they really want to understand that if I'm putting an ad on radio, TV, how much impact it has created, okay. So they need to have a causal study done for it. After that, apply causal inference. Okay, the third thing it says is apply causal inference methods to practical problems. So every problem, okay, we all know that this the CAA, the NRC, okay. So had there been a CAA, what would have been effect versus had there been no CA, what would have been effect? Okay, we can use the causal inference in every branch, every industry, every problem, because everyone wants to know what if I don't do this, what if I do this. Okay, this is a question always everyone has. Cool. So let's try and see how is causal inference useful. So let's try and see take some examples. So I'm sure you all guys would be shopping a lot on Amazon. And I mean Amazon has a very strong recommendation system. The moment you try and see one stuff, it also recommends you a lot of similar stuff. Okay. But one question is that how do you understand? So okay, then let's say Ishan has created one algorithm, one recommendation algorithm, and Abhishek has also created this another recommendation algorithm. Then how will you identify that which algorithm is better? Any thoughts? Can someone try and put it in chat window? How you know better accuracy? Okay, it's basically recommendation, correct? So Abhishek has created one recommendation algo, and Ishan has created one recommendation algo, and I'm seeing some books. Okay, I'm being fed Abhishek's algo, and Krishna, let's say you are seeing the Ishan's algo. Okay, benchmark one of the algo and compare the sales. Yeah, minimum variance from actual. Okay, from recommendation. So basically, it's what you're trying to say is basically you're gonna do some kind of A/B testing. Okay, yeah, correct. Yeah, the algorithm which gonna give you more sales definitely is a better choice. Okay, you just want to say because how will you understand the efficacy, accuracy, okay, of a algorithm? That's very very important because what happens is I think understanding the machine learning, learning these different techniques sometimes okay is very much overwhelming and sometimes we tend to forget like the output. Okay, the business want to increase sales because end of the day each of these algorithms is there just to increase sales, and if something is not working then obviously it's of no use to business. So that's where we need to understand whatever we are developing how it's impacting business, how it's helping business, how it's growing business. So that's how we should be thinking anytime and like every time whenever we are developing these different algorithms. So this is again one example of causal impact, I would say. Now I think I'm gonna skip this because you guys are smart enough, so you can easily understand what's there for any. So these two you can just think of as different creative, which creative works well. Okay. Archana is saying depends on the variable which both of them have considered for algorithm. No, Archana, it doesn't depend on the variables. It because what you're trying to understand is like I am looking at the Abhishek's output of Abhishek's recommendation. Okay. And Krishna basically is looking the output of Ishan's algorithm. Okay, so it doesn't matter what you're taking. What matters is basically the output we are getting. And if I find on a personal level that is more relevant to me, okay, I'm gonna click. I'm gonna buy that other stuff also which you're recommending. But let's say if the chance, if Krishna is seeing the chance recommendation system, he doesn't feel attached to that thing. Okay, then obviously he won't be clicking it, and that's the objective of your whole recommendation system. That you want to recommend those things which looks more familiar and which gonna help increase sales. Okay, it's some kind of cross selling for you. Okay, so cool. I think from data to prediction, always you can kind of predict all these different things. You can identify all these different correlations. Okay, so all this stuff you can do. I'm just skipping this example. It's not that cool, but main questions that we always have is basically how do we increase activity of users. Okay, so number of friends can predict activity with high accuracy. We all can run regression. Quite easy job. Okay. We are all good with that. But the question that we will be asked always is how do we increase activity of users? Okay. And that means that if you try and do something, if you try and do some intervention, if something happens, then what's the impact of that versus if something doesn't happen, what is the impact of that? Okay. And you always want to quantify that. So it means that would increasing the number of friends increase people's activity on our system. So you can just think of if there is a system where you have different people and you just want to know that how how to predict activity, okay, of people, different people, how to make them more engaged. So what you're saying is if there's guys who have more number of friends, will they be more active? Okay, so you just really want to understand accuracy, importance of that. So this is an example, okay, and you can just think of anything can happen. Their number of friends they're high because they all are playing. There's a lot of Xbox activity. There's a lot of Xbox activity. This is causing high number of friends. Okay, it can be either way. We don't know which way it's gonna go there, and it can be any other side also that the user interest in the gaming and this is leading to the number of friends, high number of friends, and this is also leading to the Xbox activity. Okay, so it can be anything. You can see how differently these all things are mapped. So which one of these is actually real situation? Okay, that's the question. So is my high activity is because I am having high number of friends, or is my high activity is because my in general the people who play Xbox is quite highly active? Okay, so you always will have these kind of questions. So the variables remain same, okay, and that's where basically at time regression gonna fail. And if you don't put like these kind of variables, obviously you're gonna get wrong outputs in your equation. So this is where again there's another example where the causal impact, running a causal impact become is more important. Let's take this another example, a very good example, Google search ads. I'm not sure how many of you actually have tried Google ads or any ads on Bing, but I'm sure we all have been uh, looking at these ads in every day. Okay, the moment you do something on put on Google, the first thing that you see is basically these ads. So how you understand the efficacy of these ads? And that's a question. So search engine uses ad targeting to show relevant ads. Okay, so what search engine are doing is basically different brands. Okay, so we have, and we all know that the Google is providing this whole information free to us. Okay, but on the other side, what Google is actually doing, Google is taking a lot of money from the brands. Okay, there's a lot of marketing Google is doing, and it's showing these ads to us. And when we're looking these ads, what's happening is it's raising our awareness. And when we click on these ads, we are being routing to some different landing page, and basically it leads to sale at times. Okay, so this is the whole business model. So if you say, okay, I think let me ask this question to you guys. So what do you think? Is Google a media company or is Google a tech company? Can I have some answers on chat, please? What do you guys think? Okay, tech. Ishan says it's media. Tech, Anamika says it's media. Okay. Tech selling ads. Okay, both. Cool. I think now it's kind of deuce. Uh, if I say, do you know that split of its revenue from what is earning as a tech versus media? It earns more than 90% of its revenue from media. Okay, so it has to be a media company. It can't be a tech company. Yeah, when you have so much heavily relying on the media revenues. Okay, so Google, and I think now these days each and every company is actually a media company, because I don't see tech companies. The problem with the tech companies is, let's say if you create a tech company and if you don't use media, you die next day. Okay, so because obviously if you're not reaching out to people, okay, it may be your customers, it may be your it can be a B2C business, it can be B2B business. Okay, but you will die soon if you're not going to use media. So you have to use media, you have to create videos, you have to put videos on your YouTube, Facebook. Okay, all these things you have to do it. You have to create a lot of content, all these SCM, SEO. Okay, I'm not sure, but again it depends on the business to business, but they all become very, very critical at some point. So okay, look at Aaron Swartz. Okay, I don't know who Aaron Swartz is. Ishan, would you like to talk about this guy? Okay, Reddit founder. Cool. What can be a good example of tech company then? No, so uh, I'm saying tech company. You can, if you go to the manufacturing, okay, you can go to the BMW. You can, they're all using these different techs, but they're died at 26 because he wanted to make things open source. Okay, so I'm just saying there are tech companies. It's just that the tech company alone can't survive for long. Okay, you know Apple. Now Apple is a tech company. Okay, obviously they are bringing so much of devices, they're building so many things. But thing is, they're also doing a lot of media. So every media, obviously Google is on the earning side, but every company has to have a good media spend. Okay, because if you're not spending on media, you will die soon. Yeah, IBM is tech company. Yeah, you can say IBM is a tech company. Google is also a tech company. I'm not denying the fact. But if you just look at their revenue, their whole nine more than nine. Do you guys have Pixel? Google Pixel mobile? Are you guys using Pixel? Any of you? I don't think so. Okay, you don't believe in that. Okay, some of you are using it. Okay, cool. I think it's amazing mobile. I used to do its marketing when I was used to work for Google. Okay, but yeah, I'm not denying the fact tech versus media. What I'm saying, I'm just stating a simple fact that to put categorized put a tag to for a company, whether it's media or tech, you always want to look at its revenue. Okay, if the revenue is coming more from the tech side, you're gonna put him as tag him as tech, and if it's on the it's coming on the more from the media side, it's a media company. So there's a misperception. If you say Facebook and Google, they're all heavily relying on the media. Not obviously the tech is driving that media. Tech is definitely there, but since their whole revenue is coming from media, they are the media companies. Okay, so let's talk uh, again more on this presentation. So we're saying that prediction model based on user search query. So whenever you guys kind of put any query on your Google boxes, what Google does it in the backend, depending on your profile and the keywords that you put, it maps it back to the brands that are bidding for that keyword. Okay, and whichever brand is actually giving him high money, okay, he's showing that ad on the top. Simple model. Okay, you can see Amazon toys. Amazon is paying, giving the highest bid. That's where that targeting was very accurate. Now, the thing is the counterfactual. Would I have reached Amazon.com anyway without the ad? Okay, this is always be the question. And I think, let's say if you are a brand manager and you need to show you put your ads, okay, the first thing you will be asked is like, if you don't put, what will happen versus if you put, what will happen? Okay, you need to answer that, and that's quite a tricky question. So what you're going to do is you're going to say that, okay, let me try and run this ad in Mumbai, and let me try and not run this ad in Delhi. And what you will do is you will try and do some calculation. You will say the Mumbai Delhi in terms of population, they kind of look similar. Might be in terms of online behavior, they're also similar. Okay, you will see some demographics. You will see that the people between 18 to, let's say, 34, they comprise 25 to 30% of the whole population, and the male female gender ratio is quite same in both Mumbai and Delhi. Okay, so you're going to create identify these couple of variables, and based on those variables, what you will do is you will launch one campaign in Mumbai, but you will not launch in Delhi, and you will just look at the sales. Okay, and once you get the sales from both these regions, you will compare it. So Delhi becomes your counterfactual. Okay, so Delhi is your counterfactual because there you are not running anything. You can also say Delhi is your synthetic control. Okay, so these are all different terms, and basically you're selecting people at random. So it's a randomized experiment. Obviously, I won't say it's a gold standard because there are a lot of other variables in Mumbai. It can rain, Delhi it might not. Okay, there are a lot of other variables which are out of our control, but that's the best you can do. Okay, and that's how all these researches campaigns are being designed. Cool. So let's move forward. So what happens is there are two things: is search ad driving the visit to toy website, or basically the search on toys is actually driving search. It's also driving visits, and so you can have all these different things. Okay, you need to identify which is the case that's happening. That's always the question. So that's where this whole causal impact package is going to help you. So it says search ads have an explicit intent. Display ads should be fine. So it's changing the whole theme. If search is not driving their business, put a lot of out of home in the city. Okay, and but problem with out of home is if you're gonna put out of home, then you can't click. Okay, with search at least you have the click. You can do some quantification. But if you're gonna do something on TV, if you're gonna do something on out of home, okay, there's nothing you can do. There's no tracking mechanism which you can use. So what you're going to do basically is basically if you really want to estimate the impact of ad, you have putting your showing your ad in Delhi, you're not showing your ad in Delhi. Sorry, you're showing your ad in Mumbai, you're not showing your ad in Delhi. Okay, and you're going to compare the sales. Okay, that's one very basic thing. So I'm just going to skip. I'm skipping all this. Okay, so you know what is the Mumbai is the observe effect, and Delhi will be the counterfactual effect. Okay, and then the difference is basically the impact. We just talked about that which algorithm is better, so I'm gonna skip this part also. Okay, let's talk about this. So there are two algorithms, okay, and you can see that it talks about the CTR, algorithm A and algorithm B. So out of these two algorithms, what do you think? Which one is better? Can I have some answers, please? So there are two algorithms. You have put them in production and you have measured their CTRs. Okay. So which one you think? Okay. All of you are saying the second one is better. Pretty nice. Thank you for being so alert. Oh, okay. Now let's say we have just broken this algorithm into two parts. Okay. So there's low activity users and there's high activity users. Now what will you say? Which algorithm is better? What is your thought now? Okay, some of you have started saying old is better. Okay. See, so this is a problem. Okay, this is where we all say that the devil lie in the details. Okay, so Amit, Kripa, Krishna, Rohan, they are all have started saying the old is better, while Archana is still standing on his claim on the new. Okay, but just see. So what you have done? Okay, let me just again go back to the same example. Let's say very first time you have got some data and you have just quickly done some summarization around it. Okay, you have seen that there's 5%, 5.4%, and you feel very happy with these numbers. You suddenly just get up from your seat and go to your manager and show him these numbers and say, boss, please put algorithm A, put it into production. Okay, will that be a good decision? Obviously no, because the moment we have gone into detail, okay, there's something else that has come up. Okay, and now again it's a question. Some of you are saying that no, now you wanted algorithm A, okay, and some of you are saying no, I still want algorithm B. So what is this? Okay, what is this? So this is actually known as very famous name. It's known as Simpson's paradox. Okay, I think when we start with the regression, at that time also it comes, but this is what it is. Okay, the moment you start getting into deeper, okay, your numbers, your ratios might change, and that's where we always need to be wary of these facts. But any thoughts? We only have how many minutes? Okay, we only have 10 minutes now. So we're just going to discuss Simpson's paradox today, and I'm going to share all these links with you guys. So please go through them. But yeah, any thoughts why you guys think why this is happening and what is the problem? Any thoughts why this behavior? I think you all have told me that answer. It's just that you're not because of users, users. Okay. What else? You are 20% close to answer, Archana. What about others? Amit, Kripa, Ishan? You all know that answer. I'm telling you guys. The user change, low activity? No. What is the first fundamental of statistics? Random. Perfect. Yeah, it has to be a random experiment. The moment you lose out your randomness, these things happens. Okay. Right now, what you're doing is the moment you're getting into deeper and deeper, you're making things more biased. You're making things more specific. Okay, and that is the reason you're seeing these things. Had it been a random sample of from user A and user B, it would have been the perfect learning, but it's not. The more random it is getting, it is failing. No, the more random it will have, it will be more true. Okay, but the less right now you're getting into detail and detail. Okay, you're getting into more details, you're losing out on randomness, and that is why you're seeing these change of percentage. As in for new logo algo, sorry. Yeah, that way you can say. So just think of like randomly selecting 4 people, 10 people. Okay, this number is very small, and that is the reason. Had there been a random selection, you could have got your answer. So this is where basically we always need to be wary of the fact. And the next time I'm sure you guys will talk about it. Okay, you will not just jump on your seat the moment you see the first result. You always want to go into more detail. Okay, and that's it all says that the devil lie in the details. Kripa is saying, is there a trade-off between randomness and precision of predictions? It is a trade-off between randomness and so I would say in your normal business analytics, most of the time you have to take out your randomness, okay, out, because you will not have that option. So the only option that you have is basically to make a right call. Just see, had you been got only that overall number figures, you would have taken the selected the algo too, okay, and you would have gone for it. But who I think Archana, I think no, Ishan and others, everyone went for the old algorithm after looking at the results. Okay, and if had that, you can see it's much better. So how much business gain is there with the algo? One, okay, not two. So it's a call that you have to take. Okay, and to take that call, unless you do basically all these detailed analysis, you will not be able to make a big profit. Okay, that's the trade-off, that's the risk basically you are taking if you just start blindly believing all these. Okay, cool. So let me move forward, but just remember this is very, very important. Simpson's paradox, why we need to go into detail whenever we are doing any kind of analysis. Okay, always remember it's Simpson's paradox. The numbers can change, numbers can mix up. That's where you want to cut it by gender, cut it by geography, cut it by these different behaviors. Okay, all these different things. Cool. So, okay, I'm just gonna fast forward on this because we have kind of seen a lot of such things. We all know that the making sense of such data is too complex, and we all agree. But we are all smart guys, and going forward, we will not repeat this kind of thing. So, how do we systematically reason about and estimate the relationship between effect and their cause? Okay, is there any way? And the answer is yes. So, let me just yeah. So let me just talk about this example. Okay. So I think this is very, very important. Even like I kind of learned it after, I would say, 10 years of my job experience. So I
Okay,
really want
got
you
it.
guys. Sorry, was someone saying something? Okay, so what happens is basically what are the different ways? Okay, so I was talking about the gold, silver, and bronze. So here you can see. So this randomization is your gold. Okay, this is your gold mine. If you get randomization in your data, that's it. You can just do anything and everything that you want. A/B testing. Okay, if you can make a randomized A/B testing, set up a randomized A/B testing experiment, I think the learnings that you're gonna get will be super duper awesome. Okay, you can change the whole business. You can earn a lot of revenue. You can gain a lot of success. There's another theory which is multi-arm bandit. Okay, it's a bit complex theory, I would say. Uh, we can't discuss it now, but what it does, it basically, instead of just splitting your randomly a group of people into two sets, it automatically optimizes the numbers also. So okay, so it starts with, let's say, 50-50, but if it sees that the first 50 is doing better than the later 50, what it does, it basically it allocates more to the first. Okay, then it again the suddenly, so it's basically that optimization also, okay, while running the experiment. So that is actually multi-arm bandit. uh, I don't think a lot of people understand it, but if you kind of make them understand, that's gonna be superb. After that comes our natural experiment, and we are champion in this. Okay, regression, we all are very good. And instrumental variables, your whole EDA part, your whole variable identification part. This is, I think you have done so many times. So you're super duper champion in that. The last thing is your conditioning, okay, where you kind of just identify a couple of basic parameters. And obviously this conditioning thing is the super easiest thing. We don't need to scratch our head also. Okay, we can just close our eye and we can just get to these numbers. So that's how. And you can see that on the left hand side, the moment you start moving from bottom to top, the easiness of doing it decreases, while the validity, importance, outcome, it increases. Okay, it makes it more practical. So that's what basically I would say the causal impact is. I'm sure I know that the time is quite less, but I just wanted to just talk about this topic because it's very important. A lot of researches are going on around this, and if you guys want some links to link, okay, what I'm gonna do is basically I will share a couple of links with you guys. Please go through it, and yeah, I think that's definitely gonna help you in some projects, some topics, some future success. So let me know if you guys have any questions. I think I can spend another 5 minutes. No, think I'm not getting any questions. So that means I hope at least I'm able to have success in making you guys aware what the causal impact is. Can you give some insight about blend of data science and digital marketing in business? Okay. Data science and digital marketing. Okay, so if you want to talk about digital marketing, what happens in digital marketing? Okay, the most important thing in digital marketing is your experiment. Okay, so let's say you want to run a campaign, and or let's say you want to run a Google AdWords campaign. So what you do is basically you want to understand its impact. Okay, and to understand its impact, you need to set up an experiment. Okay, the whole A/B testing. So what you can do is the example which we just talked about. Your If you have basically, let's say, if you run an experiment in Mumbai, you don't run it in any similar city, which is Delhi. That's one. The second thing is, let's say you already have sales, and now you want to understand what parameters is actually driving that sales. So you can identify the whole lot of different parameters from digital. Okay, you can see that how much money you have spent across different media. Okay, which is a kind of a marketing mix model, which is again very popular in this whole thing. But marketing mix model is not just limited to digital; it includes every media. It includes your control variables also. Basically, if there's payday, there's weekends, there's holidays. Okay, all those different things gonna come into picture. Is there any relations? So digital marketing cannot survive, I think, without data science. Uh, all these optimization that are happening at the back end, okay, on behind Google, behind Facebook, they all are using these all software algorithms to do the optimization. Okay. Okay, there's another question. Is there any relations between Simpson's paradox concept and variance bias trade-off? No, they are completely different things. Variance bias trade-off, they're completely different. Simpson's paradox is only for the level, basically, how many different depth detail you really want to go and do your analysis. Google Analytics, Facebook pixel data is everywhere. Yeah, the data is everywhere, but what you guys are doing, go swim into that and identify some good insights. Cool. I hope that should be the end of our training. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share a couple of links with you guys. Okay, I will share it with the coordinator, and he gonna share these links with you guys. Really recommend you guys to go through it. And if you have any question, you're always welcome to put it over my email. Okay. So thanks everyone. Thanks for your time and good night. Bye.